And we're back with more Faubyism. And this is Taylor's story. And I'm zoning out. Just switch seats. I don't want to be... Okay. So, I guess my story kind of starts even before I was born. About a month before I was born, my mother decided that I was a mistake and she didn't want me. So she tried to overdose on crack cocaine in the hopes that I would die, as would she, or that just I would die and she would be okay. So they found her in some hotel room and rushed her to the hospital, and obviously everything's okay because here I am. Then about when I was 1, she wasn't with me, but after I was born. I was born on August 4th, 1997. I'm 15 years old. Yay! And, so a lot of things have just been hard, ever since my brother passed away. That happened when I was 5, and he had a son named Chase, which is, I'm 15, he's 13. But he passed away. Him and his friends got high, and they shoved pills down his throat until his heart stopped, or, you know. But I remember exactly when we got the call. It was like earlier in the morning, and we were at CVS, where the pharmacy is, and we were sitting down, and my dad gets a call, and of course he always answers Bill at whatever business he owned at the time. I think it was, I don't even know, B&C Cleaning, that's right. And all of a sudden my dad just drops. And of course I was only 5, so I scream at the top of my lungs because I have no idea what's going on. And then we finally get him out to the truck, and he just sits there and bawls and cries, and neither me or my mom, who was with us at the time, could get an answer out of him to what was wrong. And then he could barely manage to choke out that my brother had passed away. So a couple weeks after we found that out, his funeral, I went to his funeral, and for anyone who's lost someone as close to them as my brother was to me, I mean, we might as well have been like twins. We were literally inseparable unless he had to go somewhere. Otherwise, I would always be with him, basically. But to see him in the casket was surreal to me. That's when I realized that I had basically lost the only thing in my world that really mattered. And so, even at 5 years old, I fell into depression. And I stayed there pretty much my entire life. Like, the day that his birthday was, which is January 11th, I knew. I didn't have to wake up and look at the calendar, because that was the day I'd lay in bed and cry. Then when the day of his death came around, which is March 4th, I knew. I didn't have to look at the calendar, because again, that was the day I laid in bed and cried. And growing up, until I moved at 7 to Indiana, I'd always been moved around a lot, because my dad owned his own business and my mom was never there. She was always doing drugs or something. I moved from house to house with aunts, uncles, and my grandparents, and I mostly stayed with my cousin, which is the friend, if you watched the previous video that Danielle mentioned. And we never really got along, but she was a little bit there for me. Like, the person that I remember enjoying the most staying with was my aunt, who we share a birthday, and my grandparents. I can only remember spurts of my childhood because, I don't know why. Probably because I've just pushed them back into my mind. Then when I was 7, I moved to Indiana, and the whole wicked stepmother thing was absolutely true for me. Anything her son said came before me, and if I said it was different, it was a lie. So I got in a lot of trouble there, and my dad saw I was completely miserable, so we moved down to Alabama, which is where I live currently. Where I met a lot of my really great friends. My cousin's also this girl right there, it's a good friend. I met her like the first day I was here, because my cousin pulled me aside and was like, "This is my friends," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, these people are so much cooler." And so me and Danielle have been friends for 6 years. 6 years, yeah. But even back then, I was still like extremely depressed about everything. Like, I'd get days where I'd be good, I'd be like extremely hyper and excited, and then I'd get days where everything would just not matter, and you could tell those days mostly by how I acted and a lot by what I wore. So I had another friend, Bethany, who I talked to because her sister was battling cancer and she lost her. But it was easier talking to someone who had lost family members, and Danielle was really easy to talk to because she'd been through so much crap. It wasn't till like 13 or 14 I started having suicidal tendencies and thoughts, to whereas I would hate myself so much that I didn't really want to live, because I saw myself as a burden to my dad, who I thought looked at me every single day and just saw the marriage that had failed and the child that had come from that marriage. And I thought he hated me because of what happened. So I started having suicidal thoughts. And I started to get to where I really, really wanted to cut. And I did it like once. But then I talked to some people, and they helped me a lot. And it wasn't until like really last year, my mom came back when the year after we moved here, so like 5 years ago. So it was like the longest she'd ever been here, but a week before my 14th birthday, she ran out again. And I didn't think I was going to be okay, but it was so much easier. Like, I got over a lot of stuff with her gone, because we'd always fight, and I could just, even those years leading up to her leaving, I could just tell, and so could my dad, that the marriage was falling apart. Like, they never talked to each other. They always yelled at each other. My mom was a total bitch to him, which I could not stand, and I'd stand up to her because I don't like people being jerks to people. I'm just that way. But I thought my world had crumbled again, until I realized that I was better off without her. And it wasn't until like a couple of weeks ago that she found a way to ruin my life again. Even with her not here, my dad informed me that she had stolen over $20,000 out of my college funds. The college that I've wanted to go to for several years is the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. The tuition for that college is $30,000. So as you can imagine, it will be extremely hard for me to pay for that. So I am 15 and I'm looking for a job to pay for my college. I was so angry. I kept asking myself, how could she still hurt me even though she's not here? And I kept saying, why is it fair that even though she's not here, she can still hurt me? So that's pretty much it. That's really all I have to say. But I just wanted to tell you guys that for anyone who's gone through even a smidge, you guys understand what it feels like. And if you guys need anything, don't hesitate to ask somebody close to you. Don't get to the point where you feel so depressed that you hate yourself and you think that the world would be better off without you. Because I know this sounds super cheesy, and a bunch of people are like, psh, yeah, whatever, everyone says that. But there is someone in the world that really does need you. And I didn't realize that. What do you have? Whisker. I didn't realize that till actually November 15th of this year, and it is November the 25th, so about 10 days ago, when I started to date someone who is really amazing, and he's helped me a lot. And like I said, there's someone out there that really does need you, and you may need them back. So talk to somebody if you're going through something. Alright, love you guys.